So a group of liberals go to a Trump rally and have an interesting experience. Let's talk about it. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about this YouTube channel called More Perfect Union. These are, I suppose, very liberal people, and they went to a Trump rally in Erie, Pennsylvania. Of course, that's right on Lake Erie. It's between Cleveland, Ohio, and Buffalo, New York. Now, I've not seen the entire clip. I've seen little bits and pieces. There are some very, very, very interesting comments from both sides of the proverbial aisle. Some things you may not even expect. You may expect it to be one way, but it might wind up being a different way. And before I go any further, let's go ahead and get into the clip. If you want to see the entire thing, which I will not play here, I'll play a portion of it. But if you want to see the entire thing without my commentary, link as always will be in the description. If you're on IG, visit the link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on the website. And without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
Extreme socialism, obviously, we'll all agree, communism doesn't work.
Yeah.
But extreme capitalism, as we're seeing right now,
Does not
with
work.
this corporate capitalism, also has its problems.
How much money is too much?
Now, before we even get into it, I just got to say, I'm going to stop here and there because I don't want these people on this channel, More Perfect Union, to give me a claim. So I'm going to stop it here and there.
Money for one person.
It's a tough call. I know. When they have these billions, you're like, well, they really don't need it. Yeah, we agree with that.
Why Trump instead of Bernie Sanders?
What I look at is more progressives like the Bernie Sanders faction, stuff like that. We actually see a lot of the same problems.
And I would vote for a Bernie Sanders before I'd vote for like a Ted Cruz or Marco Rubio.
That's very interesting to say he vote for Bernie over Ted or Marco. Very, very interesting. And my man had on a Trump hat, and young lady right here also has on the Trump hat. It's very interesting.
Cruz or Marco Rubio.
What would it have taken for you guys to not go into the rally and to instead get ice cream with me, a flaming leftist?
Well, first of all, you
I'd
have
be
to
happy.
buy.
I'm happy.
All right, I'm buying. We are polarized. There is no doubt about it. But I came to this Trump rally on a hunch. I've poured drinks at a Rust Belt dive bar for the last year, and when your county votes for Trump and the bartender looks like I do, people kind of assume that you're on the same page.
I've learned, one thing I've learned throughout my experience on the internet is never judge a book by its cover. Ever, ever.
But sometimes you actually are. So here's my hunch. For all the focus on culture war issues, the working class on the left and the right have a lot more in common than we're led to believe. And if that's true, it could and should have huge implications for the upcoming presidential election. So I went to Erie, Pennsylvania to find out. Are we rolling? Okay. We're here at the Trump rally today. Why did you come out today?
To support my 45th president.
Okay.
He didn't lose. He called out the Washington establishment, and I absolutely loved it.
You know, he's definitely not a Republican because Mitch McConnell and them would be backing him and DeSantis would be running against him. Obviously not a Democrat no more. So we're more of a politically homeless faction that loves America and will.
I've heard that quite a bit, saying that, they're politically homeless. I'm not left or right. I'm not quite sure I'm buying into that 100% personally, but I do hear that quite a bit from people in the country. They don't really feel like they belong in either party.
Make all the changes that we can to make it great.
Prices are just higher. Like, you go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
I buy the same thing every time I go to the grocery store. I spend $102 at Aldi's. I was just telling my uncle this.
Yeah.
I'm spending over $200 now.
Yeah.
So things are more expensive. I think people are more scared.
Our money doesn't have no value, and that's why we're having problems. This whole inflation thing, it's been building and building for multi-decades, and it's getting close now.
You work at McDonald's, right?
I do.
Do you feel like you're getting everything out of work that you're putting into it?
I believe I should get paid more. All I am doing is I'm working my ass off to get my money. I'm a hard worker, and I feel like I deserve more.
Okay, my man, you said at a Trump rally, maybe he's a Trump supporter. I'm not really sure if he is or not, but I would presume he is if he's at a Trump rally. My man, McDonald's, come on. You got to get better skills than that. I'm not quite sure how old he is. Could be relatively young man, could be in his 20s or something like that. You got to get a better skill, boss. McDonald's ain't it, man. Anybody can do that. And at a certain point, they're going to replace you with a robot. So you're not even going to be needed. Get better skills.
Money. I'm a hard worker, and I feel like I deserve more.
I work down in West Virginia
Yes.
Yep, on the rigs for evil Big Red Halliburton.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Halliburton, we were 2 weeks on, 1 week off, so you never got to go home. We were the lowest paid of all the workers out there. I only made $13.50 when I got hired on.
For Halliburton.
For Halliburton, yep. Probably wouldn't even have an Iraq war if it wouldn't have been for the Halliburton and Cheney and stuff. We were expendable. That's all it was. Halliburton, Big Red, they called it. You're just part of the machine. And
I mean, that's correct, though. I mean, what kind of jobs are you doing? If you have a low-skilled job, you're going to get the pay that matches. It's just that simple. I mean, the company might be worth billions, millions, whatever kind of dollar amount, but it doesn't really make a difference because what do you do? The next guy will be like, hey, I'll do it for the same price that he didn't want to do it for. And that's what it really boils down to.
the machine can be replaced.
As expendable as, people who went over to fight a rich person's war in Iraq.
Yep, pretty much.
5 years ago, I came to the realization that I've been hoodwinked. I have zero respect for Dick Cheney. I have zero respect for George Bush.
What did it for you there, and why did you end up going towards Trump?
It was a lie.
And this might sound
I'm talking about the Iraq war, and I agree with them 100% on that. This is a big part of the reason why I voted for Trump initially, is because he was against the foreign interventionism, foreign wars. Yeah, that's a really big selling point for me personally.
Lied about the Iraq war. There was no reason for us to go into war in Iraq other than the military-industrial complex.
It was a reason, all right, but it wasn't the reason they told us. It definitely was a reason. There was many reasons, but not they lied to us about the real reason. The government tells us whatever they think we need to hear rather than the truth, and I don't like that. I don't like being told just whatever to keep me calm. Tell me the truth and level with me.
It's just a conspiracy
Wanted
theory
a war.
The global corporations, do they have, the Goldilocks question: too much, just enough, or too little power? Where would you place it?
I feel like their only thought is more money,
right?
More power. That's all you care. Whoever has the most money.
Obviously, it's too much.
Yep.
When you have a company like BlackRock that's worth $9 trillion,
and Vanguard's what?
Vanguard's $8 trillion. Obviously, I'm not going to argue. There's a problem with that.
Do you think the finance sector?
Yeah.
Does it have too much power, just the right amount of power, not enough power?
Way too much power.
The financial sector.
100%.
Now, when we're talking about the financial sector, what are we talking about? Are we talking about the banks or the government? Because in my humble opinion, it's the government that are colluding with the banks that give them all the power. All the bailouts and everything else. A prime example, Signature Valley Bank, SVB, they gave Mark Zuckerberg a 1% interest rate on the mortgage of $6 million. And then they go under, and then it's up to us as a taxpayer to bail them out. Now, that should be their responsibility to take care of whatever they got to take care of rather than placing it on our shoulders. The government colluding with the banks gives them all the power. It's not the banks by themselves. So when we say the financial sector, what are we talking about exactly?
Yes. These people really, a lot of these people they don't realize are unelected officials. So all these politicians have this plan for how they're going to fix the economy, but then they just get in there, they don't do anything, and they're funded by the people, and those people are not elected, and they control the people that are elected.
What role do you think, the consolidation of these larger corporations? I came from an agricultural background, and now it'll be 3 or 4 companies that control the entire market for chicken, for eggs, for beef.
That shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big problem, but also a big problem with, before they answer, food. A lot of these companies consolidating is foreign companies or foreign countries, and companies buying them up. China owns Smithfield Foods or a Chinese company, same thing. That's a problem where you have China owning some of your food supply. Big problem.
Working class has gotten beaten up because of the loss of small businesses. And my question would be, I would say, why aren't they here anymore?
As a small business owner, I feel like we aren't represented that much in America.
I agree with 100%. I'm going to kind of go ahead a little bit because there's a lot to this video. I'm not going to play the entire thing. I'm going to skip ahead just a tad bit and see what we can glean from there.
1,000 people. That's a lot of people. You don't want to mess with that.
This contract was $30 billion. That was from workers standing together. Didn't have anything to do with government. Is that something you guys support?
Sure,
Yes.
of course.
Of course.
Of course, absolutely. Yeah.
So if my coworkers wanted to make more, and since I want to make more, I'll probably organize something that could help make us more. Like maybe.
So now we're talking about unionizing. It's some interesting answers. A lot of people, people say that the left and the right is no difference, two wings of the same bird. I think what people might want to kind of understand is that a lot of Americans aren't really that much left or right. They're kind of right in the center, and they could go either way depending upon the circumstances, depending upon social pressure, depending upon anything. They can go either way.
Maybe a petition.
Yeah, right. Or union activity,
Yes.
a lot of that. Yeah. And would you be really excited by Trump coming out and supporting workers who are doing that?
Yes.
Seeing Trump on a picket line?
Yes.
Yeah. Hot button issues. You can't get away from them. You never hear about UPS.
Not today. No, honestly, I didn't know about it till you told me.
Why do you think that is?
So they just made a big move doing that too.
Because who's running the show? Listen, we lost our republic decades ago. We're living in an oligarchy. So they're the ones calling the shots because that's where the money's come from. The media, everybody.
You'll see things like the board or whatever they put on, the TV. You'll have
Or trying to divide people.
Yes.
A lot of the stories are trying to divide people. to get them to
Divide,
go
keep
against
them
each
off
other.
the ball.
We're not supposed to be doing this.
Yeah, like it's weird that it's that.
They want. I
weird
feel like
that
this is
we're
all for
talking.
distraction, to be honest.
Yeah.
They want us to argue.
It is.
They do want us to argue, but there are some things to argue about. Some things like the border being wide open, that's a problem. This is a very interesting answers. I didn't really expect to hear this at the rally. I didn't really expect it. Some things I kind of thought I might hear, like some more left-leaning, but I'm hearing like a lot of almost socialist point of view from people that are conservative at the Trump rally. This is really interesting, very, very interesting. And one thing I'm glad I didn't see as I close, I'm going to come back so you can see me clearly. One thing I'm glad I didn't see was any kind of arguing and fighting and crazy talk or anything like that. You have just regular people having conversations, and you're starting to, you're seeing in that clip right there, I'm not going to say starting to see in general, but you see in that clip I showed you how similar left and the right are when you're talking about regular everyday normies and what they want for themselves. Very interesting, but I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about some of the answers given during the clip I showed you? Were you surprised? Not really surprised? Did it take you aback? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. There were some pretty surprising answers. I think a lot of people at this rally that were interviewed, those that were chosen to be on camera, I'm not going to sit here and say that was all of who was interviewed, but I think those who were on camera were kind of left-leaning, to be totally frank. They were kind of left-leaning, talking about, I want more money at McDonald's and all this and that and the third. It was really interesting. But again, that just goes to show how regular normies out in the streets aren't really far one way, far the other way. They're right in the center. And you got to be able to appeal to the center to be able to win elections, which is why I always say, hey, if you're Trump, DeSantis, or whoever, you got to appeal to that center. Those who are going to be on the right, they're going to be on the right. On the left, they're going to be on the left. But the middle, you got it. That's where the average person is. You got to be able to attract them in order to win elections. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.